What are the two mysterious heavenly trees in the Qur'an? Are these two trees the same? What or who does the Qur'an mean by these two heavenly trees? In this video, we will examine the traditions raised about the two heavenly trees mentioned in the Qur'an and their nature. Tuba. Tuba or Tuba tree, the name of a tree in heaven that according to traditions, God created it with his own hands. The origin and roots of this tree are in the house of the Prophet, PBUH, and its branches are in the houses of the believers. Position and concept. The word Tubi is mentioned in the Qur'an once in verse 29 of Surah Ra'ad. The word Tubi is not considered Arabic at all. According to Ibn Abbas, Tubi is the name of heaven in Abyssinian language, and Sa'id bin Jubair considered Tubi to be the name of heaven in Indian language. Some commentators have mentioned the meaning of the word Tubi in the Qur'an, other than the name of a specific tree, but in the Shia and Sunni traditions, Tubi is mentioned as a tree. Some believe that God has expressed some heavy terms and concepts unfamiliar to the human mind, such as the truth of Tubi, in the form of human understandable concepts, and in these cases, the truth of meaning should not be imagined as these worldly trees. Tubi tree in traditions and hadiths. According to the content of the hadiths, Tubi is a tree in heaven, and just as the sunlight enters all the houses, its branches are stretched out in the houses of all the heavenly ones. In each branch are fruits and blessings that no eye has seen and no ear has heard, and it did not happen because of anyone. God has created that tree with his powerful hand, and the people of paradise can pick any ornament they want and any kind of fruit they want from that tree, and this tree is the fruit of the love of al-Bayt. A.S. Imam Sadiq, ﷺ, said about the greatness of Tubi, Tubi is a tree from the Garden of Eden that God planted with his own hands. In a hadith of Imam Ali, a.s., on the first of the month of Sha'ban, at the command of God, he was opened in heaven and commanded the tree of Tabi to spread its branches over the world. It makes heaven. According to the traditions, the Tobi tree is one of the few things that God created with his mighty hand. Birth of Hazrat Fatima. S. It has been narrated from Imam Sadiq, A, that he used to kiss the Prophet, PBO, and Fatima, PBO, a lot. Aisha disliked this work. So the Messenger of God, PBOH, said, O Aisha, when I was taken to ascension, I entered paradise. Gabriel took me near Tubi and gave me an apple from that tree and I ate it. From this apple, a sperm was produced, which I mixed with my wife Khadijah after returning to earth, and she became pregnant with Fatima. Now, whenever I feel a desire for heaven, I kiss my daughter, and when I kiss her, I smell the fragrance of the Tobi tree. Description of the narrative. In a description of this narration, it is said that Tubi comes from the root of Taba, which means pure and good, and since heaven is the place of purity and the place of entry of the pure, Tubi's family tree is in heaven. The truth of Tubi is purity and sanctity, and since it has branches, and purity and sanctity are achieved in all kinds and forms, in the hereafter, it is also in the form of a tree with good and fruitful branches. According to traditions, the root of the tree of purity and holiness is wilayat, from which every good thing emerges, and without wilayat, which is caused by love, nothing has value. Therefore, the root and origin of this tree is in the house of the province, and its branches, which are purity, mercy, wellness, sacrifice, charity, worship, prayer, fasting, and other desirable actions and attributes, all branch out from this root, and every branch it gets strength and grows from this root. Imam Sadiq, peace be upon him, said, Tubi deserves someone who adheres to our commands during the absence of the Qaim, peace be upon him, from our family, and his heart does not deviate after finding the right path. They asked, What is Tobi? He said, There is a tree in heaven that has taken root in the house of Ali bin Abi Talib, peace be upon him. There is no believer except that there is a branch of that tree in his house. A man from the companions of Prophet Muhammad, together with a group, visited him and asked, Where is the Tobi tree? He said, In paradise, in my house. Another asked the same. The answer came, In paradise, in the house of the commander of the faithful, Ali, A.S. They said, "A few moments ago we asked the same thing. You answered, 'In my house,' and now you said, 'In Ali's house.' He answered, 'My house and Ali's are in the same place.'" According to verse 24 of Surah Ibrahim, which is said, "Didn't you see how God likened the word of goodness and pure speech to a pure tree whose root is fixed on the ground and whose branch is in the sky?" Imam Sadiq said in the interpretation of this verse, "What is meant is the Holy Prophet and the leaders after him, who have a firm principle, and what is meant by branches is the province of those rulers that should be submitted to and accepted." Bihar al-Anwar, volume 24, page 141. Sidrat al-Muntaha. In addition to the word Tubi, another phrase is used in the Qur'an in verses 14 and 15 of Surah Najm, which refers to a heavenly tree. Maqam Sidra al-Muntaha, paradise where the home of the pious is there. Hazrat Muhammad, P.B.Ash, described this tree as a heavenly tree that he encountered in the house of Hazrat Ali, P.B.Ash, on the night of Ascension. Bihar al-Anwar, volumes 18, page 408. Muhammad bin Sulaiman asked Imam Sadiq, peace be upon him, about the interpretation of verse 14 of Surah Najm. The Imam recited verse 24 of Surah Ibrahim and then said, "The messenger of God, the trunk and the root, Hazrat Ali, the trunk, Hazrat Fatima, the branch and leaders of their lineage, are the branches, and their followers are the leaves of that tree." Sulaiman asked, "I will sacrifice you. What does the naming of that tree as Sidrat al-Muntaha refer to?" He said, "By God, religion ends with it. Anyone who does not benefit from it is not a believer and not one of our followers." Bihar al-Anwar, volume 24, page 139. There are two views about the concept of Sidrat al-Muntaha. 1. A tree in the sky. In some of the Islamic narrations, Sidrat al-Muntaha is considered a tree in the sky, and various interpretations have been given about the extension of the shadow, the brightness of the stem, the abundance of foliage, the colorfulness of the load, the golden coating, and other characteristics of it. For example, in a narration, the diameter of a tree is equal to walking 100 years of the world to pass by it. In a hadith of the Prophet of Islam, peace be upon him, it is said, "I saw an angel standing on each of its leaves and glorifying God." In another hadith of Imam Sadiq, peace be upon him, it is mentioned that the Messenger of God, peace be upon him, said, "I reached Sidra al-Muntaha, and I saw that a nation has been placed in the shadow of every leaf of it." It is mentioned in Tafsir al-Mizan. The word Sidra means a cedar tree, and the last word is the name of a place, and perhaps it means the end of the heavens, because according to the Qur'an verse, heaven, Jannah al-Mawi, is next to Sidra al-Muntaha, and it is in the heavens. It is stated in the Al-Bayan al-Tafsir al-Qur'an, "The Sidra is a tree above the seventh heaven on the right side of the throne, to which the knowledge of every angel leads." In some narrations, Sidra al-Muntaha is considered the same as the Tubi tree. A place in the sky. The narrations about the Sidra al-Muntaha tree show that it was never meant to be a tree similar to what we see on the ground, but according to the Namun interpretation, the meaning of Sidra al-Muntaha is a huge canopy next to the mercy of God, and he said about Sidra al-Muntaha. Although there is no explanation in the Quran, there are various descriptions about it in Islamic traditions. These interpretations show that it is not a tree similar to what we see on the ground, but it refers to a huge canopy near the mercy of God, whose leaves are glorified by angels, and the nations of the good and pure are under its shade. Naming. In Qurtubi's commentary, 9 aspects have been mentioned for naming Sidra al-Muntaha, including that the knowledge of the prophets leads to it and does not go beyond it. Whoever follows the tradition of Muhammad, PBUH, will lead to it. Whoever reaches that rank has achieved the ultimate dignity. And another thing is that the souls of believers, or the souls of martyrs, lead to it will be. Sidra al-Muntaha is also mentioned in hadiths. Hazrat Muhammad, P.B., said in the praise and greatness of Sidra al-Muntahi, "When I reached the Sidra al-Muntahi tree, I was as far away from my Lord as the frame of 2 arcs or less." Yes, this brings the greatness of Sidra al-Muntahi, especially when he said Jannah al-Mawi or paradise is also next to it. It should be noted that cedar is the name of the genus, which means the genus of the cedar tree, and cedar means a cedar tree, and Mentehi is the name of the place, which means the place where this tree is, or it means the end of the heavens, which means this tree is in the last, it is the point of the heavens, and this meaning is more compatible with what is stated in the hadith that Sidra al-Muntahi is in the 7th heaven, or Gabriel could not go ahead of it, or the prophet was 2 arcs or less away from God there. It is said that in Arab countries, there is also a cedar tree, which is a very tall tree that reaches 40 meters in height and lives up to 2,000 years and has a very heavy and delicate shade, but it has a disadvantage that it is thorny. Therefore, one day an Arab man came to Prophet Muhammad and said, "O Messenger of God, in the Qur'an there is a name of a thorny tree. I didn't think there was such a tree in heaven." Hazrat said, "Which tree is that?" He said, "Cedar tree, which is a thorny tree." Hazrat said, "Didn't God say in the Qur'an, Fi Sidr Makdud means a cedar tree without thorns? It means that the heavenly cedar tree does not have thorns at all, but instead of thorns, God has put fruit, and each fruit has 72 colors of nutrients, none of which is similar to the other." From the numerous narrations that exist about the 2 trees of Tabi and Sidra al-Muntahi, it can be concluded that the Tabi tree is the truth of faith, which was placed by God in the hearts of the lovers of al-Bayt in the form of love and guardianship. Tuba can be considered as the Sidra al-Muntahi tree that was shown to Prophet Muhammad on the night of Ascension, and its attributes are described in the Ahadith of Ascension. Dear friends, we are waiting for your comments about this video and future videos.